Hey, everypone! Digibrony, when are you gonna continue your my room thing? Now, so, we're on my manga shelf where I left off. Let's just get started. Gunslinger Girl, volumes 4 through 6 and 7 through 8. So, I was a huge fan of Gunslinger Girl about in 2008, I'm gonna say. Originally collecting actually these volumes, the first 6, which were released by ADV in then, like what, 2007, 2008 area. And I really love this manga. It's fantastic. If you've ever seen the French movie, we talked about this one before on this show, and we couldn't remember the name. The Professional. I got it now. If you've ever seen The Professional, this is basically based on that idea, but it's about these like cyborg little girls who are assassins, and they have, each of them has like a guy who they train with. The problem is that the drugs that are used to give the girls like super strength also makes them fall in love with the guy, so there's this sort of strained, weird relationship between them. And it's fantastic. It's very nuanced and subtle and interesting and political, and yeah, lots of intrigue there. So this is a great series. Unfortunately, ADV put out the first 6 volumes, and then they shut down their manga division. So this, for years, was not coming out anymore, and I can't read Japanese, and I didn't want to follow the fan translations for some reason. I was just like, I'll wait till it comes out here, because I just held out hope that it would one day. And it did. The company 7 Seas started putting out omnibus versions. So I got the first 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 8. They've actually released the rest of the series. I think there's like 16 volumes total. I believe it's done, and I haven't bought them because I haven't read this one yet. I was trying to catch up to where I, had been before. Like, I tried to reread all the volumes and never finished because, as you've probably figured out, I don't finish things. Ever. So, next. Akira. Volume 1. I lied. I finished this reading-wise. Like, I read all of Akira online, and then I bought Volume 1. The reason I haven't bought the rest is that they're expensive. This is $25 for Volume 1. Flipped, unfortunately, so it's read left to right, but I would say Akira is possibly... I forgot I was going to show off the art in each book. Hold on. Let's look at some Gunslinger Girl pictures. It's got this sort of, Can you see the art at all? Can you see any?
Mm-hmm.
Is it reliably artistic Hal? It's basically guns, lots of action. The thing about this manga is that the action, there's like a lot happens in each fight scene, because it tries to have like a very cinematic approach to fighting, so everything looks like a European like action movie, which is pretty interesting. The guy who draws it, not the greatest at anatomy, but he's good at conveying like what is supposed to be happening in the action scenes. So anyway, Akira. This is the most beautiful fucking book ever. The artwork, hold on, let me try to find some cityscapes, because that's pretty much what Akira is known for. And like intense, crazy, like lots of shit blowing up and caving in, and just cityscapes being reduced to rubble. Akira is an absolute classic from the 80s. By, what's his name, Katsuhiro Otomo, and this was like the most influential sci-fi manga ever. So it had 6 volumes that are all about this size, except some of them are thicker, and it's very inspired by like Mad Max and Blade Runner and stuff like that, those sort of 80s sci-fi movies. And it was made into an anime movie, which I talked about before on the Blu-ray shelf, which is also considered a classic. It's actually directed by the same guy who wrote the manga. He got to make the movie as well. And it's interesting, because the manga is 6 volumes, and the movie only covers the first 3. Like, it has the same ending as the manga, pretty much, but it actually cuts out the whole second half of the manga and just has the ending after volume... Really, it cuts out after volume 2. That's, like, all there really is of the movie. So yeah, if you liked Akira and you wanted it to have a much bigger, more epic storyline, the manga is for you. Next we have what is another one that's considered a classic, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. This is, if you've ever seen the movie by Hayao Miyazaki, who is like the most famous anime director of all time, This was his first animated film, but he actually drew it as a manga before he did the movie. I believe he was still working on the manga when the movie came out, so this wasn't over yet. The movie, again, only covers the first couple volumes, and then just kind of concludes, whereas the manga goes on for a lot longer. It has 7 volumes, I think. I only have the first 3. I've only read the first 3. I have not finished this, despite my best interest. The artwork is absolutely insanely detailed and glorious. It's as detailed as one of Hayao Miyazaki's movies. If you've ever seen any of his films, like Spirited Away, or Princess Mononoke, or Nausicaa, then you know what you're in for here. Yeah, it's just obsessively detailed art. Usually just like a shitload of dialogue in some of these panels, because he really would like to just dump all his dialogue into one section and then move into these big action sequences on their own, so yeah. Everything is ultra detailed. It takes a long time to read a chapter of Nausicaa just because there's so much shit going on. So moving along, there's actually a weird way that my manga collection is organized, where the top 2 shelves is all manga that I've been collecting that are not over yet, that I intend to keep buying, or at least at the time that I organized this shelf intended to keep buying. I haven't actually bought a manga in like years. But the next 2 shelves will be completed, like ones that I bought the whole thing, and then after that it's ones that I don't have a complete version and I don't intend to complete ever. So here's the ones I'm still considering myself collecting. Pokemon Adventure. Actually probably won't buy any more of because it's really silly. This is the Pokemon manga. I had read pretty much this volume online beforehand, like years ago, and then I found it in a store and bought it. If you ever had a problem, if your issue with the old Pokemon anime was that it didn't follow the game well enough, this is for you. This manga, the main character is Red, and he follows like exactly the adventure from the video game, with a lot of the same stuff happening, although he starts off with more Pokemon, and he actually regularly catches Pokemon, unlike Ash Ketchum. Even though he has a Pikachu, that's not even his main guy. The Poliwhirl is really, it was like his best friend since growing up and everything, so, yeah. It's definitely a lot different from the anime, and, there's still Misty, there's still all those guys, but this is pretty interesting. Also known for the fact that Pokemon die in this. Like, it's a comedy manga, but Pokemon will just kind of die. Like, and apparently they can come back, from what I've heard. I haven't gone far enough to see that, but, like, yeah, Pokemon just get murdered. There's one point in here, hold on, I believe it's in this volume, where fucking Gary Oak's Charmeleon cuts an Arbok's head in half, which still, yeah, look at this shit. Look at this panel. Do you see that, Victor? Can you make out what's happening?
Yes.
That's intense. And that shit just happens. There's like no remark made about it or anything. So anyway, moving along. Gunsmith Cats. The reason Volume 1 is not up here, and the reason for saying with Gunslinger Girl, is that I loaned them to Brandon Tolentino. I'm sure he hasn't read any of the manga I loaned him. Gunsmith Cats is awesome. It's a 90s classic pulp story. It's just uber, like, girls, guns, and cars. Like, that's really what it's all about. The guy who drew this was just like, I want cute guns, cute girls, awesome guns, fast cars. He really knows his shit. All the guns are super detailed, real guns. The cars are real cars, It's just non-stop action, thrill ride, 90s pulp. If you like 90s pulp movies, you'll love this. Or 80s pulp, any pulp movies, really. You'll love this. They made an anime adaptation of this that's only 3 episodes, and it's pretty great. But the manga obviously ran a lot longer. I've only read the first 2, only have the first 2, but it's quite long, actually. Anyway, moving along. Well, here's all 3 of these are 4-koma, which means that they are, like, in this style, where it's, the 4 going down, because 4-koma are often these are all published by Yen Press, and they always do 4-komas in these super tall volumes so they can look right. But I've got the first volume of Hidamari Sketch, which, as I've talked about, I'm a big fan of the anime. I'm not as big a fan of the manga, just because I'm not as big a fan of manga as I am of anime. Anime has voice acting, it has colors, it has style and music and everything, and so this is like, just a more watered down Hidamari Sketch compared to the anime, but it's still good. Good stuff. GA Volume 1, this is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of colorful pages, because it's about an art school. Actually, I thought it had, yeah, there we go. It's about an art school, and the character designs are ridiculously adorable. And it's from the same author who did this, which we'll get to in a second, which is better. And Ichiroh, which I don't even remember this. Like, I don't know. This probably is actually complete. I think I only put this in the top shelf because it was big. I don't know why I did that. I really don't remember this at all, but I know it's a 4-koma, and I guess it was pretty funny since I didn't drop it. So, moving along. King of Bandits Jing Twilight Tales. We're going to cover the original King of Bandits Jing in a bit, but Twilight Tales is the sequel. Basically, Jing is this incredibly strange, bizarro... I would show you the art, but it probably won't make any sense because it's fucking, like, ridiculously intense. Very... what's the word? Absurdist? What would you describe? It's got that, that dude with the crazy mustache. You know who I'm talking about? The guy with the big mustache. Who Dad's a big fan of. The artist. Famous artist. Italian. Did that movie with Disney. Can do this.
The guy.
I'll put a note on the screen of who I'm talking about.
Damn it.
Close that door. Close the downstairs doors.
We're making porn.
It is closed.
It is? God damn.
They have it so loud.
They play the fucking TV as loud as possible. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So, King of Bandits Jing was a 7-volume manga. It really borrows from this sort of, like, absurdist style, and it's really trippy and crazy to read. The author, after finishing the original series, which is 7 volumes long, then did a second series, which is also 7 volumes, called Twilight Tales, where he really changed the art. It was supposed to be more Western style, so, like, the artwork is a lot less manga and a lot more Western. There's lots of shading, lots of, the characters have, like, more sort of masculine look to them. It's more comic book looking, but, like, Neil Gaiman comic book looking, not, like, you know, regular comic book.
Is it Salvador Dali?
Salvador Dali! There you go. No longer need a note on screen, so we got this. Dance in the Vampire Bund. This is a weird manga that apparently is pretty popular, because there's, like, 13 volumes out, and I haven't been collecting them because I didn't actually read volume 2 yet. But this one is about... basically, this lovely vampire girl, she literally pays off all of Japan's national debt to buy an island where all vampires can live and basically have no rules. And so, like, nobody knew that there were vampires. She's just like, oh, by the way, there's vampires, and I'm building an island, and they're all going to be there. So, that's the plot of this manga. And it's just, like, sort of political. I'd show you some pages, but there's a lot of tits in this, so I don't know... Like, there's frequent nudity in this, so I don't know if I should show it to the camera. But, lots of action and shit, and fun times. I've read some other stuff by this guy, actually. It's usually pretty good, so it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. Shoulder-A-Coffin Kuro. This is one of my favorites from that author of that GA comic. It's actually a 4-koma, but it's a really, like... It's comedy... And it's adorable, but it's really dark and sort of, like, mysterious, comic. Like, everything is really based on mystery and intrigue, but the art is glorious. Just, ooh, look at this. This is fucking cool. But, and every page has a black outline around it, because it's just that, it's that dark. I haven't actually read Volume 3 yet. This went on hiatus for years. Not just with American releases, but the original like, the author was just not writing it because she was working on other stuff. And she actually did the artwork for the games Nights in the Nightmare and Yggdra Union. If you've ever played either of those, she does the artwork for that series of games. She didn't do Riviera, but that's part of the same series. Some people know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. First 2 volumes of Soul Eater. I know you guys have seen this because it's on Cartoon Network now and you guys keep asking about it. I obviously got these way before it was on Cartoon Network, but I stopped collecting it because I read through all of Soul Eater when it had about 16 volumes out, and it had just ended the second major arc. And the first 2 arcs are fucking fantastic, and then it just kind of, like, really quickly turns to shit after that. Like, the new villain wasn't very interesting. Like, it was clear that the author just kind of didn't want to do it anymore, or, like, is just doing it because it sells. He even made Soul Eater Not, which is the side manga to this, which is about different characters in the same universe, because clearly he just wanted to do something else. I've never heard if it picks up again or anything, because I haven't read it, but, I bought these a long time ago. I was gonna keep up with buying these, but I don't keep up with anything, so that didn't happen. But, Soul Eater's fantastic. Again, if you've seen the anime, you already know. It's a pretty great series. One of the best shonen action manga. Next we have Genshiken, which is really a shame that I don't own all of this. I have read all of this, the first Genshiken series. But this is the story of an otaku club. They're called the Genshiken, which is basically short for the study of modern visual culture. And it's a college class full of bros who just watch anime and read manga all day and are super into that culture. This is the most relatable manga ever. It was made basically by otaku for otaku to relate to. It's very slice of life comedy. The characters just kind of evolve. You just basically follow them through life as they go through their changes and struggles and whatever. It's a lot of fun. I read this when I was really early into getting into anime, and this made me feel like it made me understand what the otaku community was, especially in Japan, and it made me really want to get into that. It made me want to be an otaku. I believe there's 9 volumes, maybe 12 of the manga. I have not bought the rest, but I've read it. And then they relaunched it with season 2 of the manga, which is interesting because all of the main characters from the original graduate at the end of Genshiken. They were college students, and they all graduate. And then the Genshiken keeps running with the one student who was younger, and then she brings in all these new members. So there's now Genshiken 2, which has totally new characters and their adventures. And it's interesting because the second season is almost all girls, and it's all like Fujoshi, and it's exploring, they're all into like BL and shit like that, whereas the original was more about the male side. So yeah, you definitely get a very broad spectrum of anime fandom, especially Japanese anime fandom, from reading Genshiken. You guys bored?
He's not exploring your manga!
Yeah.
He's going to every item in his room and describing
seen
it.
The other videos in the series. I did all these shelves.
Every individual
Some people
item.
are watching it, so I don't, consider it a bad thing. The videos are monetized, so I am making money off
They're
of
just
it.
hard to make.
I'm just only making $2 off of it. So anyway, this is Blame. This is the most fucking artistically beautiful goddamn comic ever. The artist Tsutomu Nihei just does this incredibly dark, gritty cyberpunk style, and it's just non-stop action. You'll notice there's almost no speech bubbles in this, because there's almost no dialogue. It's just non-stop, constant action. It's like this guy is in this cyberpunk place where it's just like, it basically is like an endless warehouse structure going up where there's like endless floors, and he's just traveling up the floors looking for these like DNA sample things or whatever. The plot doesn't fucking matter. You read it because every time he goes to a new floor, he gets attacked by some kind of insane biopunk monster and fights it with this tiny handgun that shoots giant exploding bullets. It's fucking badass. And that's basically all it is. This guy also did Biomega, which I don't have volume 1 up here because I loaned it to Brendan Tolentino and he fucking adored it. He was like, why don't you have more volumes? But it's basically, Biomega has more of a storyline, but it's still just like frantic sci-fi action, and that's pretty much what the guy's good for. Then we have Blood Alone. This is like a lolly vampire thing. I don't remember it really because I read it a long time ago. What I do remember is that this is published by, I have the original publication, which was some company that no one's ever heard of. Their website's even gone down. They only had like 5 manga they released, and the binding is so shit that pages just fall out constantly. Like almost every page of this has fallen out just in the course of me reading it once. So yeah, it's really badly made. That company disappeared after releasing about 3 or 4 volumes of this, and then it got picked up by 7 Seas, who are doing Gunslinger Girl. So I haven't like rebought anything or whatever to check it out, but I've heard it's pretty good. I just don't really remember, and all I remember is that funny story. Here we have a whole shitload of Shugo Chara. Ugh. I got this, like, most of this for Christmas. This is like the last manga I got, basically. As you can see, it's about this pink-haired girl, and she's a magical girl, and it's a lot of fun. It's just a magical girl manga, and I like cute things, so there you go. I got this because it was like Christmas, and I didn't know what I wanted, and I was like, you know what, instead of, because usually, like, on Christmas, people will buy me, I'll just be like, oh, I want volume 1 of that, volume 1 of that, and then I never collect the rest of them. So I was like, I'm just gonna get all of one manga. So I got, like, 9 volumes of Shugo Chara. No volume 6, because it was, like, missing. But I have only read the first 3. It's pretty good, but it's, like, it's also really cheesy, because it's, a shoujo fucking manga, so I don't know. And then there's this, Shugo Chara-chan, which is a 4-coma about the little sprites from Shugo Chara. This is actually even better than the original. Like, it's hilarious and adorable, and I love it. Unfortunately, the volumes are really small, so you can run through it in like an hour. Although if you read it like I do, while you're taking a shit, it lasts you a lot longer. So yeah, but this is a lot of fun. I've been meaning to get more of it. They did make more of it. Moving on to the next section.
Jesus.
I have to talk fast so you don't waste anybody's time. That's why it's just a constant.
Otherwise, the video would be 2 hours long.
So section 2. No, it's just going to be this one section of the collection. Section 2 is the ones that are complete. So, except for this, Kyuko-chan. I don't know why that's up there, but this is a 2-volume manga. I think I just got this recently. Like, I bought it for like $1 at somewhere. Anyway, Kyuko-chan is crazy, ridiculous, weird shit. It's from the same person who did the FLCL manga. Everything by him is completely incomprehensible and insane. So, if you're into really art house, crazy, weird shit, this is for you. If you're the kind of person who's like, I want art to just be pure expression, here you go. Just put that on the floor. The first 2 volumes of Trigun. This tells, like, the first half of the whole anime is in just the first 2 volumes of Trigun. Then it moves on to Trigun Maximum, which is still going. Trigun has been going forever, but the anime only covered, like, half, or not even half, because, it's been over for a long time. So yeah, Trigun. That's fun. I'm sure you've all seen Trigun, so I don't really need to talk about it. SS Astro. This was a 1-volume 4-coma, just about, like, I believe it's about teachers, like high school teachers, and just, comedy 4-coma hijinks with them, whatever. Not simple. This is some intense shit. This is a 1-volume thing by Natsume Ono. If you've ever heard of Natsume Ono, she's right now one of the most respected manga authors, because everything she does is just these really intense, in-depth storylines. She did House of 5 Leaves, Ristorante Paradiso, which is the Old Man Moe show, which is fucking hilarious. Yeah, all kinds of shit. This plot is one of those where it's like just constant plot twists and like just this insane grimdark storyline about this kid who it's like, well, I can't really describe anything without spoiling it. Basically, lots of people like die and the families are all fucked up, and it's fucked up and weird. So that's worth a shot because it's just 1 volume and you can easily go read that somewhere. Stray Little Devil. If you watched the anime series Little Witch Academia, this basically is the same thing as... I can't fucking get a cover. This is basically the same thing as Little Witch Academia, except for it's a girl transported to magical reality sort of story, but the artwork is extremely detailed. The biggest problem I have with reading this manga is that they printed it so tiny for some reason, even though the artwork is so detailed. So you have to, like, strain your fucking eyes to, like, make out what's happening. But, the author of this actually did the Gurren Lagann manga adaptation. But, yeah, it's, like, super detailed artwork, crazy, like, demons versus angels storyline. Very lighthearted, though, like, sort of comedy, dramedy, I guess. About this girl who's like, I'm trying to get back home, but I'm making all these friends in the demon world, and yeah. Boogiepop. Let's start with this one. This is actually the manga adaptation of the original book, Boogiepop and Others, which I don't think we've talked about yet, but Boogiepop and Others was like my favorite book for a long time. Extremely influential to me. This manga adaptation is from the artist who did the artwork for the novel, and then he just kind of adapted it into a manga. It's very sparse artwork. It's like a direct adaptation. They like added a little bit of stuff to the book, but mostly it's the exact same. I probably would advise the book over the manga just because it's a book and has more detail, but like, this is great stuff. I'll talk about that more when we get to the book. And then Boogiepop Dual, which is just like a random-ass Boogiepop manga. This one I remember being like really fucking strange, because it's like weirdly grimdark, and it's one of those where it's like people die, but it doesn't take itself that seriously, so everything feels kind of weird. It's strange. I don't know how to describe that. Put all this shit back. Fuck it. I don't care. Let's leave it on the floor. King of Bandits, Jing. So we already went over Twilight Tales, but this is the whole original. This is extremely special to me because Jing was the first manga I ever bought when I was 14, for my birthday, I believe. As you can see, it's very yellowed and just destroyed because I took it around to places and it's been moved through probably 15 houses, so yeah, this is a wreck. But King of Bandits Jing is one of my favorites. Again, super absurdist, crazy art. It's funny because Volume 1, the art style is extremely inspired by Dragon Ball Z. Like, very much that sort of classic Dragon Ball 1 PC style. And then as it goes along, the art style evolves so much that like it no longer even resembles the early volumes. Like everything is a lot more lanky and dark and sparse and, I don't know, just more interesting, I guess. It's always a trip, though. King of Bandits Jing is a trip, no matter what. The storylines are often kind of incomprehensible, but you don't really come for the story, you come for the trippiness and the absurdism of everything that's happening. Next we have Goth. This was a one-volume manga adaptation of a novel. I've never read the novel. The manga's not that great. I don't really remember anything about it. It was pretty unremarkable. Who cares? We already went over Gunslinger Girl. This was the original printing where it has, like, the translation's not as good in the original printing, and also the text is, like, atrocious. They used, like, Comic Sans practically. Or it's, like, chalkboard, the Mac font, I think. All I remember is this doesn't look as, because they just didn't center it correctly in the text bubble, so everything kind of looks like ass. Yeah. Alright, moving along. Here's all the manga that I don't intend to keep buying for one reason or another. Oh, and while we're here, we might as well talk about this fucking base. A bunch of people got mad at me because I never mentioned this base in a previous video and it was just sitting there. This is from, my parents wanted us to have the opportunity that we could play any instrument we wanted. So when I was like 10, I got a guitar because I really wanted a guitar. And then I have two little brothers, so we were like, let's get a drum set and a bass so that we could start a band potentially. But none of us ever practiced or got into the instruments or had any real passion for it, so we just kind of have instruments laying around. I'm going to get into some more instruments in the next video, but this is the original bass we got. It's kind of shit. I don't think it works right now, right? Does it work?
Nope.
Yeah, because it doesn't plug in correctly to the socket, so you can't even play this at all. So, yeah, it's just kind of sitting there. There was a period in 2008 where I practiced bass for, like, a few weeks. It was funny because I was watching the anime series Nana, and, like, around episode 22, I got really inspired that I should get better at bass because, like, the show was hitting this high point and the band was getting all, like, really into it. And then the next 22 episodes are just pure depressing bullshit for 20 fucking episodes. And it was just so depressing, I did not even pick up my bass again and forgot about it. I blame Nana. Moving along, here's volume 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a lot of, this is the first volume of Duelist, so this picks up right where the American card, like, cause the anime covers the original, like, 16 volumes or so of the manga before they started playing the card game, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Originally was not a card game, it was just, like, the king of games, he played all these different games. This is the first volume of where it became about the card game. And it's interesting to see what they changed, adapting it to anime form, because in this, they just kind of sit down at, like, a table and play the game, and it, like the monsters don't even appear for real. They're just, like, imagining this shit. Like, it's just on this fucking little table board. And in the anime series, they made it these giant fucking hologram projector machines, so it's, like, way the hell more intense, but the manga is definitely very dark. Yu-Gi-Oh's always been dark as shit. And the original, like, before they started doing the card games, this is where it actually, like, got less dark, because originally Yu-Gi would just kill people. Like, Dark Yu-Gi would fucking straight up murder people over, like, petty bullshit. Like, they'd be a bully at school, and he'd just kill them, you know? It's like, damn. So anyway, moving along, we have the first 5 volumes of Hayate the Combat Butler. I was really into this, like, in 2007, and then I just totally got out of it. It's, like, really reference-heavy comedy series, but, I don't know. I have no patience for it anymore. Huh? What?
It cut off.
It always does that. But it would have cut back in, like, in a second.
No, it just stopped automatically.
I see. So anyway, this is an Eureka 7 manga. I've never read it. I don't even think this is it's volume 4. They just gave it to us at some Bandai panel at Otakon one year. Bandai just loves handing out random shit that they don't want. It's always like stuff that they release as bonuses with their DVDs. They just hand that shit out at panels all the time. Battle Angel Alita Volume 1. I believe I talked about the anime adaptation before. It's very cyberpunk. Another one with pretty detailed art, very action-heavy, sort of gory and stuff. Still running, I think? Maybe? There's like 2 different... There's like the original Battle Angel Alita, and then there's like a sequel series that's been running forever. First volume of Blade of the Immortal. This was like the first manga that my cousin Boyd bought, and I believe he had 2 volumes of the first... He had 2 of the first volume and gave one to me. This is some really intense, gore-heavy, chanbara, like, samurai shit, where it's about this guy who is like... He's committed all these sins, and he was infected with these worms that make him immortal, and he has to slay 1,000 evil men in order for him... Or maybe it's 100 evil men. Either way, he has to kill a lot of evil men in order for the worms to leave him, and he'll be able to die. So, it's very long running, if I remember correctly, and very dark. It's known for the fact that when he kills someone, like, when he kills one of the, 1,000 people, there's always this crazy-ass full-page spread of, like, of the moment where he murders someone. Like, here you can see someone, like, chopping his arms off in full, and just, yeah, these big, epic depictions of gore. Ugh. Ghost Talker's Daydream. I don't remember even why I bought this. It was just kind of like a random purchase. It's about like this chick who like runs an S&M dungeon, and she's also a mystery solver and like talks to ghosts or some shit. I don't know. I don't remember it being very good, so that's alright. Get Backers. This is an old shonen manga. Had like a 50 episode anime. It's sort of like a mixture between comedy, drama, and just like random shit. It's about these 2 guys who are always poor, and they run a service where they're just like, we will get shit back for you. So it's like, a bunch of small arcs of them going around getting shit back. And they both have these ridiculous superpowers. Like, one of them controls electricity, and the other one has the evil eye, which can stare, like, into your soul and make you feel... It makes you see, like, weird visions and shit. There's lots of huge tits. Hold on, where did those big-ass tits go? God damn, look at those tits. That is ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
Lots of fan service in that, even though it's a shonen manga. Cat Paradise. I think I bought this just because the character designs are so good, but I remember the plot being like just inane bullshit that I didn't care about. It involves lots of cats. I believe it's a school that's like full of cats. The cats are fucking adorable, but I just didn't care that much. And the character designs are spectacular, but yeah. Random ass volume of Bobobobobobobo. It's Bobobobobobobo. If you know anything about this, you know it's insane. You turn a page and everything has changed from what it was the page before. It's just a non-stop constant acid trip. But the real reason to read this particular volume is because of the most famous moment from it. Let me find this shit. Because it's so good. I can't even bring this up and like not show you the page. If I can fucking find it at all, that'd be nice. Wait, is that it? So much happens here. Okay, yeah, there we go. So, like, Bobo's fighting this guy. He's like, ha ha ha, you're wasting your time. There is no finish. It is impossible to win this game. And he's like, not true. There's always the last resort. The last resort? That's interesting. Show it to me. And then, boom! Yugimoto comes out of his afro. And he's like, I summoned Slifer the Sky Dragon! And they're like, that guy's famous! He looks younger in person. Slifer the Sky Dragon is coming! And then, Slifer, the artist is like, if only I could draw better! Because this is actually the Yu-Gi-Oh! Artist drew all this Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff. And so yeah, he beats the enemy by having Yugimoto summon Slifer the Sky Dragon out of his afro. So that's pretty fucking badass. First 2 volumes of Bleach. I bought this back when it started coming out here, so that would have been like 2004. A couple of years ago, I caught up to Bleach, and I actually enjoyed it a lot, surprisingly. I expected it to be kind of shit, and I liked all the characters, and I liked the art and everything, but I can't follow manga like this on a weekly basis, because it's like within each chapter, nothing fucking happens. You have to read it all the way through to, like, figure out what the hell's going on, because, like, within a month, I didn't remember who any of the characters were anymore. Tetragrammaton Labyrinth. I bought this because of the name. Tetragrammaton Labyrinth. 2 of my favorite words ever. And it was released on the Strawberry imprint, which was a Yuri line from 7C, so it's all lesbian stuff. And I was like, are you kidding me? 2 of my favorite words, and it's about lesbians? And this girl is an immortal vampire thing, so I was like, this is probably awesome. Unfortunately, it's horrible. It is easily the worst thing in my collection. It is trite, it is dumb, it's about demon hunting, and it's fucking ridiculous. The plot lines are stupid, the dialogue is stupid, the art is stupid, everything is stupid. Except the name, which is stupid, but I love it! So this is actually worth owning to me just because of that name. You may have seen that I use this name in certain places, the name Tetragrammaton Labyrinth. Shadow Star. This depresses me because I bought these 2 volumes before realizing that they had not released the whole series here. This was 13 volumes, and Dark Horse released the first 8 back in the 90s, and then they stopped. Because this, and apparently they had censored it too, because this manga was so controversial because it's literally about like a bunch of kids who all pretty much end up murdering one another. There's lots of sexual undertones and nudity and stuff that was just seen as inappropriate, so they edited stuff. It's incredibly dark. This is the same person who did this. It's called Narutaru Shadow Star, and it's also the same person who did Bokurano, which is basically the same. It's always about kids in extremely dark situations. He has this like really lanky, sort of like almost emaciated art style of drawing people, and it's fucking fantastic. But unfortunately, there are only 2 volumes released, and as soon as I realized that, I was like, fuck my life. And I've never actually finished reading it. I did finish Bokurano though. First 2 volumes of One Piece. Again, I bought these way back when this was first coming out in like 2004. I'd love to read all of One Piece, but all the scans I find are shitty, so I figure I have to buy the actual manga, which is pretty cheap. You can get the omnibus volumes for like the price of a regular volume of manga, and you can get 3 volumes. But they've released like 56 volumes in that form, so I want to read One Piece, I just haven't gotten around to it. The first 5 volumes of Mega Tokyo, the webcomic. This had a lot to do with getting me back into anime in 2007, was I caught up on Mega Tokyo, and I was a big member, not a big member, but I was a member of the Mega Tokyo forums, mostly hanging out in the anime, manga, and cosplay section. So, if you were ever on Mega Tokyo forums, I probably know you. You probably still know me because of my anime blog, so a lot of my friends are from the old Mega Tokyo forums. But I can't probably reread this because I'm sure it's not as good as I remember. Or I wouldn't like it as much now, probably. Yubisaki Milk Tea. This is a gender bender comedy of sorts, very saucy, about a guy who just starts wearing his sister's clothes and realizes he looks extremely good in them. Interestingly enough, this publishes in the same magazine as Berserk. Which is, by the way, just like a porn magazine. Like, Berserk publishes in basically like a Playboy equivalent in Japan, which is just so perfect that I can't even, it's like you're just looking at hot chicks and dudes, like giant dudes who slash demons. First volume of Rurouni Kenshin. I tried reading Rurouni Kenshin the manga a couple years ago, and it is depressing to read this, because you quickly realize that the author really did not care about this story. That's the impression I get anyway, because like every time you read the author notes at the end of a chapter, it's always like, well, my editor said it would be a good idea to introduce a younger character, so I made up this guy. My editor said I should probably put in like this kind of enemy, so I did. It's like, yeah, he basically just did whatever his editor told him to, and the art is so lifeless and stuff, so I don't know, I find Rurouni Kenshin depressing. It's funny because the anime series was clearly made by like people who liked Kenshin and therefore like wanted to do better. So there's a lot more heart in the anime adaptation, I think. Ranma 1/2. Probably shouldn't flip to this because there's tits and stuff, but Ranma is a classic. If you've ever read Inuyasha, this is what the author was doing before that. Pretty much everything she's done, every major series she did was huge. She did Mason Ikaku, Urusei Yatsura, Ranma 1/2. This, I've watched the entire anime, all 160 episodes of the show. By far the longest show I've watched. And I loved it. In parts of it are horrible. Anyway, I tried to read the manga, And it's funny because I associated the characters' voices so much with their Japanese voices that when I try to read it in English, I can't do it. I can't hear their English. I mean, I could probably do it now because it's been like 5 years since I watched the show, but it was really hard for me to like not be hearing the Japanese. Here's Mushishi. I believe I talked about the anime adaptation already. It's very pretty, sort of sparse but detailed art, so that's nice. I know I just said sparse but detailed. I didn't really care for the manga that much. I like the anime adaptation more. First 8 volumes of Death Note. I was reading this as it came out back in 06, 07. I was enjoying it a lot. I read volumes 9 and 10, which I borrowed from a friend, and then I never actually finished it because I just stopped caring about what was happening, basically. First volume of Chobits. I know this is supposed to be pretty good. I mean, it's by Clamp and everything, but I only ever read the first volume. It's sort of a fun, little, adorable, but very dramatic, I've heard later on, love comedy about a robot who wants to be people. Dazzle. I believe I have 2 volumes of this. Also known as Hatenko Yugi. I bought this because I saw the anime, and it's... this is like... It's like Juno in manga form. Like, the main character is like Juno, where she's just like this fast-talking, sort of sarcastic young girl. Although in this, of course, she's surrounded by insane pretty boys because it's shoujo manga. But if you're into shoujo manga, just read this. I'm sure you're gonna love it. You know, it's got the brooding pretty boy characters. And the girl is a lot of fun. But I didn't really care that much for the art, so stopped reading it. Welcome to the NHK manga. We'll talk about NHK more when we get to the novel. Although I think I talked about the anime already. The manga is okay, but it's not as good as the novel or the show, so I don't know. Venus vs. Virus. I bought this because there was a time where I was just basically buying anything 7C's put out that was Yuri. This isn't that Yuri, despite the way they advertise it, so yeah, I don't really care for it at all. The art style is super nice, but the story is fucking just totally lame. Petite Cosette the manga, based on the anime. It's really fucking strange, and it was only 2 volumes. It was clearly just made as a cash-in. I don't care about it. Hayate X Blade. This is another one that was on a Yuri imprint, so I bought it. It's pretty dumb. It's a little fun, but mostly dumb. Don't care. This is more interesting. Magical Pokemon Journey. This is the shoujo manga Pokemon. Like, straight up, big, flowery art, giant-headed characters, super, like... Filming?
Yeah.
As I was saying, it's adorable. Shoujo Pokemon. I like this a lot. If I find more of it, I will continue buying it. The only problem is it's like $5 for these like 2 fucking issues that it comes with, but and it's giant for some reason. But I have seen these around. They're from the 90s, and it's a lot of fun. Now we're getting into some fucking like this is mostly shit I got during free comic book days over the years. Striker. This is, I believe, what the fuck? This is Spriggan. Have you ever seen the movie Spriggan? Spriggan is Striker. Like, I think Striker's the American name. I don't know what issue this is, or 4, I guess, I do know. But this is like random shit I picked up during free comic book days. Super Manga Blast. This was basically like a Shonen Jump kind of thing, but by Dark Horse. It has Shadow Star, 3x3 Eyes. I believe all the 3x3 Eyes I've read was in this, and then these other like weird shits. But yeah, they didn't run it very long, from what I understand. First issue of They Were 11. I know this had a really popular anime adaptation. It's like a 70s. It's interesting because it's like shoujo art style, but it's definitely sci-fi. It's from like this rare breed of sci-fi shoujo stuff that came out in the 70s. If you are into like any kind of 70s or 80s shoujo, this is like definitely for you, because it's fascinating. Outlanders, I believe this has a lot of tits in it, so I'm not going to flip through it for you guys. Yeah, lots of tits. This is just like this weird-ass 80s like comedy, sexual sci-fi. It's a lot like Ranma, but like, you know, just silly, dumb 80s shit. More issues of Striker that I got on Free Comic Book Day. Don't remember picking up some. I don't think I've read these yet. This is from like the last year's Free Comic Book Day. Here is a giant-ass volume of Festival. This is a Japanese magazine. This is what basically all manga comes out in magazines like this in Japan. And when I say Japanese, I literally mean it's in Japanese. I believe there's lots of tits in this too, so I should be careful. But it has the Clannad manga, obviously. It had a lot of anime adaptations, a lot of visual novel adaptations, some original stuff. Some stuff in here looks pretty cool, but I can't read it, so it's not very helpful. But yeah, the most important thing about this is that I got it for about $30, and it comes with this. And if you can't see what that is, too bad. You'll find out in a later episode because I'm going to talk about it anyway. But when I get to it. But this was from like when I was early into otakudom, and I really just wanted to have like lots of cool otaku shit. So I bought this for that reason. This is the box that that came in. So yeah. More Super Manga Blast issues. This one's got Shadow Star on the cover, 3x3 Eyes on the cover. Then we have 4 issues of a Gundam Wing comic. I have 1, 3, 4, and 5 of 5, and yeah, I mean it's Gundam Wing. It's fucking atrocious. So
Wrap it up. Battery's low.
Volume 1 of Naruto. I still have I had 12 volumes of this. Sold the other ones, but I kept this one because it's a hollow cover. It's number 332 of 5,000. Unfortunately, it's also got a huge crease because I loaned it to a friend who threw it in his backpack and creased it horribly like a dick. So I have no idea if that's worth anything. Volumes 9, 10, and 11 of Excel Saga, which is another thing my aunt sent me, as well as these 2 Slayers volumes. I don't know if this is the manga or this is the novel. So Slayers novel, a Slayers manga. Again, these were sent by my aunt. I haven't read them yet because I just have not really been interested. And that's all my manga collection. We got through it before the battery died. Yay!
Yay! Annotations!
Probably not. I haven't actually annotated anything on these videos.
Annotations!
Every video just ends with us screaming annotations and nothing is there. People are always telling me I look like a psycho at the end of my videos.